Welcome to the Comics Experiment, the show that I bring to you every week here at Comicstorian. We put up on iTunes, Spotify, all the wonderful jazz, and it's streamed live on Twitch every Thursday at about 2 p.m. Eastern. You may notice my two guests on this episode are not the usual two guests.
Yeah, that's right.
That's not right at all. No,
we guys look like brothers. I want to.
Oh, you do look. Are you brothers?
No, all of us
three
now
of us. Look.
Well, you all grew a beard out.
Get in here. You're in here. You're part of the brotherhood too, man. Hey, what's up? It's Benny and Bros. Benny and Bros.
The weird younger brother, like the third brother that got all the bad genes. He got the shortness. He didn't get the like the bad hair.
So you guys may remember them from a previous episode, but this is Greg Miller and Nick. Whoa,
Scarpino, baby.
I was gonna say Shapiro, and I'm like,
very
that's
close.
I remember the S, and I wanted to say Shapiro, and I was like, that can't be that.
Close enough though. Close enough.
The fact that I had an idea, it can't be the right name.
You got in the ballpark. That's fine. That's all that matters.
All right. They're from Kinda Funny, and where can they find Kinda Funny?
YouTube.com/kindafunny.
Or YouTube.com/kindafunnygames.
If you like game stuff, yeah. They're a comic show, so we're talking comic stuff.
Yeah, but sometimes people, you're allowed to read comics and play video games.
I know, but I don't want to. Why don't we say our Patreons too? Why don't we throw out our Twitters too?
They got all these
goddamn links. Do we curse on the show?
Is
Dame okay?
Dame's okay. Well, let's not drop any F-bombs.
When you put a God and a Dame together, that's sacrilege, sir.
That's when he comes down.
Big man. Stay Puft Marshmallow Cup.
That is Monome.
So I think I told you briefly this because you brought up the beard. So my fans on Twitch know this.
Yeah.
You started growing out your beard. And I thought it would be hilarious to grow a beard because I didn't know it was going to grow like this.
Yeah, yours looks awesome.
Right, and I was supposed to go to RTX the same time as you, and my plan was to grow wherever I got it to. I was going to contact you ahead of time to kind of correlate this and charge into one of your panels and challenge you to a beard off in the middle of RTX. That was the plan.
Thank God you didn't, because you would have just decimated me. It's glorious.
It started growing really in, and I'm like, because the goal was going to be like I expected it, because I've never grown a beard outside of the military, so it was like I expected to be spotty and horrible, and I was going to show up and I was like, I'll probably have to take a fall or something, because I'm sure Greg's growing his real and mine's going to look horrendous, and I'll just take it down. And then it grew in, and I'm like, well, we're going to call that off.
Awesome.
Like, I don't want a chance of losing this.
So do you shape it yourself? Like, what do you, or do
I
you have
trim the sides down so it doesn't go like this.
Yeah.
And then I kind of give it like an evil gnome look.
See, I like that. Yeah, I like the angular triangle stuff you have in the front.
Yeah,
I need to work on that.
I cannot get mine to grow downward. It curls in and then gets puffy on the sides.
Yeah, no, mine just keeps going down, and I'm happy with that.
So you have that really thick, like, knotty hair. I have, like, it's a little too stringy, and so when it gets long, I start getting chipmunky, which I don't like. And my wife starts going like this. No.
Well, that's what my wife does. She doesn't like the beard at all to begin with.
Really? Okay. To begin with,
she likes how it looks. She doesn't, kisses and stuff. She's like,
yeah.
But the reason I'm saying it here on the air is because
it's a show about beards.
Well, we can make it a show about beards, but for the longest time, my chat has been like, "What's the verdict on the Greg Miller beard challenge?" And I'm like, I'm not going to do it.
You crushed me. That's what I've been looking at. He looks way better than me in every way.
I just want to have the beard. That's all I want.
You're all in shape
your beard
now.
does not look bad.
Work. You got the good hair going too. I just have it going.
This is last July though, so I just got the beard on.
Yeah. Now I wouldn't even be. I'm not even in your weight class, as they say. You know what I mean?
But it's always funny.
I'm down here playing in the minors.
And I keep telling him, I'm like, I honestly don't think Greg Miller knows, because it was just something we said on Twitch. It's not like I was blasting you on Twitter all the time.
Hashtag shirts getting made. Beard off, Benny.
It would be like a casual mention on Twitter, and on Twitch, and everyone was like, "Oh, what's going on with that?"
Yeah,
nothing is going on with that.
If you give your Twitch chat marching orders, they're gonna carry them out. You're like, I want a blood feud with somebody.
Yeah,
they're
the Twitch
all about
chat's
it.
always the hardest, the hardcore.
Yeah,
the Twitch chat.
That's why Nick and Andy Serkis can't be in the same room.
And it's true. We have a rivalry he does not know about.
It's like me and the beard off with Greg.
Exactly.
We told Andy Serkis about it once. And he's like, that's nice.
He was lovely.
Anyways, back to talking about my Planet of the Apes.
That was like your reaction when I saw you last time I mentioned the beard off.
Yeah.
You were like, oh, yeah, okay, that's cool.
That's what it is. You know what I mean? I'm Coke, you're Pepsi. You know what I mean?
No. Can you be Pepsi and I'll be Coke?
No.
I'd like to be RC Cola.
I was like, who's RC Cola?
I'd like to be RC Cola, please. That was the coolest logo, truth be told.
Yeah.
Looked like the Kansas City Royal logo.
I don't understand why. Back in the suburbs of Chicago, we used to go to Danny's Pizza, and we'd get a pizza every Friday as a family. And when you ordered a large pizza, they would just give you a 2-liter of RC Cola.
They had to give it away.
I know. I know they did. Nobody else wanted it.
Nobody wants RC Cola. Who funds RC Cola?
RC cars, I guess. You know what I mean? You got to keep it going.
So to bring our happy-go-lucky discussion down, let's talk about killing characters in pop culture. So for anybody who's watching this, Marvel stated recently, the editor-in-chief came out and said that they will no longer kill any characters for the sake of selling an issue. I don't believe that at all.
No.
I personally think that they're just saying that so they can kill someone, and we're not going to assume he's coming back in month or two.
So what was the whole, where did this come from? Was it a Comic-Con panel?
I don't know. It was CBR.com was posting it.
Okay.
And so I clicked it, and it was like, recommended by like 5 other sites.
Sure, okay.
So I'm assuming he said it somewhere.
And so the idea is that they won't kill him just to sell the issue. If they kill somebody, they're dead.
Right. And that was what they had gone into. And I couldn't find out where he even said this. It was one of those deals where I think somebody actually reported it real.
Yeah.
And then I don't know about you guys in the gaming news, but in the comic.
No, gaming news is on lock. Don't worry
they're on
about
lock,
it.
always perfect with their sources.
Yeah.
Comic news is like, well, the other website got it.
Exactly.
And then
It's like a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy.
Like, I don't even know where this came from. Why is he saying it? So I wanted to talk to you guys about killing characters.
Of course.
Now, you both read comics, right?
To a degree, he way more than me.
Yeah, well,
Way more than
I know
me,
he does a lot more.
Yeah.
But you remember the death of Wolverine.
Of course.
How important and pivotal that was. That
Yeah.
was like, we're killing Wolverine and we're not bringing him back.
Encased in an animatium. You know what I mean?
And did you believe that for a second?
God, no. Are you kidding me? Not a chance in hell. No, that we're way past the point of believing that, right? Because I
Right.
remember growing up, it was Bucky, Jason Todd. They're never coming
Ben.
back. Huh?
Uncle Ben's the third.
Yeah,
He's the
exactly,
third.
exactly, right? Of like, if these people die, they're it, and that's the end of it. But
Yeah.
I mean, it starts with like, well, I mean, it happened before, obviously, but really, like the death and return of Superman, right? Like that was the one that took Superman from not obscurity, everybody knows who Superman is, but his comics were tanking and nobody cared.
Yeah.
And suddenly, like even me, a huge Superman fan, that's what brought me back to getting, Man of Steel and getting Superman, getting action every week. And it was that I thought the lead up of Doomsday was so cool, the death was so cool, Funeral for a Friend was so cool, Return was so cool. Like then I was on lock and I had read so much that now I was there. And that's literally what Marvel, DC, and even Image to an extent, right? What they want out of these events. They want to bring somebody back in and then hook them and have them not leave and stick around.
Yeah. And I can't think of any character that hasn't died at this point now. Like, Superman broke the mold.
Yeah.
You can die and come back. And every superhero has died. I mean, they even killed Spider-Man. The Doc Ock swap out. Even though we found out immediately his memories were still around, we killed Spider-Man. We killed Batman. Even though he was time traveling, we killed Batman. And then he became like Doctor Who.
Well, that's why, like, again, like, like Ultimate Spider-Man, right? Like the Ultimate comics were doing it so well, right? They're like, cool, Peter Parker, Spider-Man is dead.
Right.
Here's Miles Morales. Here's him being inspired. And it was like this, what a refreshing, cool idea that like something can end and inspire something just as cool, if not more cool, depending on who you are, right? And now you look at Miles being such a huge deal.
Right. But at the same time, do you like there being one world where Peter doesn't ever come back or ever exist?
Yes, because there's enough worlds where he does.
But
right?
here's the sad part. You probably weren't tracking at this point. Peter came back in that universe.
God damn it, did he really?
He did at the very ending.
Damn it.
The very ending of the Ultimate Universe, they brought him back, and it was like some lame excuse like the Goblin Serum revived him from the dead and Green Goblin, and they're going to fight again. And then they closed out the whole Ultimate Universe.
Yeah, no, I didn't make it that far for sure, obviously. But no, I like that. I like there being a pin in things, and I like seeing these things get tinkered with, right? Like that's the most interesting and I think underserved aspect of comics is the Elseworlds, is the what if, is hey, let's play with continuity, because the continuity gets a bad rap, and I'm very much on the Kind of Funny Comics Cast, which is our Patreon comic show. I talk all the time about like I would love to see continuity as we know it ended, where it would be that, guess what, everybody, there's not going to be a forced monthly book every month. It's not going to be forced to tie into an event. It's going to be, yes, there still is, the DC, as you know, there still is the 616. People can tell stories in that universe, but they can come out as one collected trade. They can just be one thing you pick up and get, like an Earth 1, like from DC, right?
Yeah.
Where you just get a great story and you're done and you put it away and years later something else comes in. People can play in that universe and do whatever they want with it, but it is this forced thing where it becomes so intimidating and so awkward, where it is like, man, I'm loving this. I love Superman. What's a great Superman book for me to read? Well, I'm never like, jump in at issue 60.
I actually hate that response, because people be like, "Oh, you got to go read Killing Joke first for the Batman." I'm like, that's the worst suggestion.
Yeah,
because
do you understand any of that impact?
You don't understand why that's an important book, or why that matters, or why is the clown guy laughing? Okay,
exactly.
That's a horrible ending.
Exactly. And so, like, I feel when you kill stuff or kill people in the universes and then play along and let it go, it leads to really cool stuff that, again, pays dividends in the long run, which is always so hard to explain, I think.
Yeah.
I was explaining to my wife recently, we were asking about Green Lantern, right? And I was like, oh,
one of my favorites.
I'm like, right. And my, for me personally, even growing up a DC kid, when I got into Green Lantern comics was Death and Return of Superman, right?
Yeah.
Mongol comes and destroys Coast City. Hal, like in the moment, it's there fighting, doing good. And then it was like, picking up the comics afterwards of him dealing with the ramifications of his city being destroyed, him going after the Guardians, him killing every Green Lantern, Kyle becoming, and it was like, before you know it, I'm not only buying monthly Green Lantern, I'm going back and buying all the issues I ever missed from that run to get there. And so it was this rich tapestry, which is awesome for the fans who want to be invested on that level, but then terrible for the fans who are walking in to see the MCU movies or whatever DCEU movies out of like, man, that was a cool character. I'm gonna go to a comic store. Oh my, it's on issue 62. What do I do with that? I don't want to.
And you can't find back issues nowadays. It's impossible.
And that's always the knock against comics, right? That they're too expensive. So nobody wants to be like, oh, wait, so let's 61 comics times, just cover price of $3.99. Not understanding there's a sale in Comixology or a bundle or whatever.
It's actually funny because Green Lantern, I fell off of the comic train after the Clone Saga and pretty much only read Batman. It was Green Lantern that got me back into comics while deployed.
Wow.
I ordered the Blackest Night book.
Oh, gosh.
And I'm like, that was so cool. How did we get here? And I did exactly that. You start going back through the whole thing. But
we're so rare, right? It's much easier to say like, cool, I want a Superman book. Cool, here's Superman for all seasons.
That's why year ones are great.
Exactly. It's an out of not context, but out of continuity Superman tale. You understand, Krypton, you understand Smallville. Here's a cool story involving all that.
Then you're gonna love the one I just left on your desk, The Last Night on Earth. Yeah. Because it's like an out of continuity solo Batman tale. It's amazing.
And that's the thing is I want them to do more of that. Did you watch Brightburn?
I haven't yet. I was supposed to, but I was traveling between things, didn't get to it. So.
Love Brightburn, and it's like, man, why isn't DC? Why in Marvel actually with like the What If on Disney Plus and all that stuff that they're starting to tinker with? Yeah, awesome, that's really exciting. But like, it's such a thing of like, yes, DC, why aren't you doing more of this? You're doing with the Joker, great, and like the DCEU universe didn't really work out the way you wanted it to. Why not take these cool things and give cool different takes on these stories? People understand it, and they're always keen on the rumor of Red Sun.
A great example. And I'm going to go to you in a minute about your pop culture.
I'm enjoying the conversation.
A great example, actually, is the Injustice universe.
Oh, my God.
The reason I love that comic is 9 times out of 10, if someone dies, they're dead. They aren't coming back. I guarantee. I think one person came back and I can't even think about it, or maybe 2.
Well, remember they did such a great job in it of bringing back Green Arrow, right?
Yeah, they found alternate ways to bring them back because it was one timeline that could be tinkered with and things could be permanent.
Yeah,
and that was what made it amazing. That's why I'm excited. I don't know if you're reading Deceased, the new Tom Taylor book.
Oh yeah,
because you're like, that's in a separate continuity. He can kill everyone. Yep. Oh no, who gave Tom Taylor the toy box?
And again, right? Like, what a great idea of like, and I think that was the thing for so long, especially as the video game guy. Video game tie-in comics are trash, right? Like nobody cares, and like they don't
so
go anywhere.
Good now.
And exactly, I remember when Injustice dropped, and I was like, I'll try this, and reading it, and it was even in the weird, it's the digital one, which nobody was taking seriously, so it was in a different format. And you started reading like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And I remember then people, it totally. I think it was Kotaku, maybe Polygon. Somebody put up an article just like, if you're not reading Injustice, it is so dumb. Superman kills Lois, yada, yada, yada. And I was like, are you out of your mind? Like, and it swung the other way where people were like, no, and came on board and saw it. And like, that's when, Tom Taylor, give him anything.
Oh, yeah. That was a good. I'm having a hard time segueing of such a good conversation.
I mean, well, I think the easiest is like, Nick, what about you? Do you think it's okay to kill comic characters?
I think, I think it is.
I was gonna broaden it for you.
Sure.
But is it okay to kill generalized pop culture characters?
I guess it depends on the medium, right? Like movies and TV tend to be a little bit more permanent, I think, than comics, especially since you have multiple runs of different characters happening at the same time. And I think that people are just used to it historically with comic books, like knowing that if a character is going to die, it's eventually they're going to find a fun way to bring him back. I'm of the mind that I think you should kill off characters because then you make way for some of the smaller characters to tell those stories. And I think you think back to the stories that I love so much is they always have to have. You think back to like a Harry Potter, right? Where you always have to have the Dumbledore character die to make way for a Harry Potter, who is the main character of the series, but for him to rise to sort of and
to
become,
grow, right?
To
grow
become
and become
who he's supposed to be. So like you talked about Peter Parker coming in and dying and giving way to Miles Morales. That's a perfect example of how you set that character up with an already established character. Movies are a different story though. Like and I think they absolutely should kill characters because for one, practically. The actors are going to die at some point, so you can't.
They're going to outage the role.
We have to start getting audiences used to the fact that yes, there is going to be a different Iron Man at some point. Because at a certain point, and this is the same thing that we brought up Bond earlier. I think before we started recording, but at a certain point, every Bond actor has said there's nothing compelling about a 65-year-old Bond.
Right.
Like you can't be like Roger Moore quit, Sean Connery quit. They all quit because they got too old for the role, and they were like, it's not cool to have this 65-year-old grandpa be trying to hit on 22-year-old girls anymore. It's just kind of skeezy.
They really should tell Bruce Willis that about these latest Die Hards, but whatever.
God bless Bruce Willis. He's got his own problems. But no, I absolutely think they should, and I absolutely think they're doing it right in the MCU, where there is a sense of permanence in the MCU right now.
Yeah, well, that's where I wanted to take this, because the Iron Man death.
Yes.
At this point, if you haven't seen Endgame, you at least know what happened. And the other death was Black Widow, which I still find was a weird choice considering they gave her a follow-on movie, but whatever.
We'll see what happens.
That's another discussion.
Well, but see,
Coulson got a whole freaking TV show after his death.
But that's a great way to do it, right? Because you still have the impact of the death, and you can still go and tell a side story that happens earlier, or you know, like and without having to worry that you're sort of. I don't know, making that a little less impactful. And that's the thing, is like, I don't think we're ever not going to see Robert Downey Jr. again in a Marvel movie. We'll get him some way. Maybe he's going to be
like
the Jarvis, or maybe he's going to
please be the AI.
Yeah,
He's the AI.
He kind of did it at the end of Endgame.
Right.
Well, I got so excited, just saliva.
Yeah, you just salivated the idea of an RDJ.
But spoilers, at a certain point too, they're gonna use that de-aging tech, and they're gonna put him back in another movie that's happening in the 80s or 90s,
Easter
something like
egg,
that.
yeah.
It'll be super fun. But
they'll have him like the multiverse. Oh, look, a young Tony. You know, like
exactly. But he's had his run, and we've all, I think, fallen in love with both him in the role and the character itself. And so yeah, when he dies, that's impactful. You know, I don't want to get too meta or too philosophical on why we all really, these movies appeal to us, but they appeal to us because they really they mirror the basic human struggle. And guess what? A big part of that human struggle is death, and getting over that death. And when you have a character that you love sacrifice himself for everyone else, that's a real lesson learned for people. And if you say, oh, that character's going to come back in the next movie, it's like, well, what the fuck are you teaching kids? I'm sorry, I apologize. You have to bleep that one out. But what are we teaching people, right? Like,
no, and I agree, and that's the problem with comics.
Yeah,
because comics do that.
There needs to be permanency.
Yeah.
Like the Wolverine death, he's back.
Yeah.
But they didn't even like let him really die. We immediately got Old Man Logan. They're like, we'll just give you an older version. It'll be the same thing, but not.
And that's why Tom Taylor again, right? All new Wolverine. I started
that was great.
When Laura took over the mantle. That's when I started picking up Wolverine. You know what I mean? I wanted to see what they were doing. And granted, Tom is amazing, but it was such a interesting look at her character, right?
Yeah.
It rose her up to be one of my favorite Marvel people. When is before I thought of X-23 the clone, right?
That's exactly what I thought, and it was funny because this was during the exact time when all these characters were getting swapped out for legacy characters, and it caused a lot of uproar. And I was like, regardless of what the argument is on the entire legacy character versus new character argument, Laura Kinney earned her role.
Yeah.
You can't argue against that. Yeah. She's been by his side for years. She worked with him. He is called to the Wolverine. She earned that role.
Yeah.
You know, regardless of your argument as the reasoning behind it, that was one of my favorites because he died, she took over, and then Old Man Logan's running around.
And that, you know, exactly. And we talk about comics, you know, death being impermanent and bringing things back. It's the same way of like, for me as a DC fan, how awesome it was when Dick Grayson put on the cowl, right?
And you thought like he actually was going to be Batman, like long term.
And it was like, and then like suddenly like Batman and Robin had such a new life to it to see Dick dealing with Damian and Damian not liking Dick and then going back and forth and Gordon being like, you're not the guy. Like, you know what I mean? Of like,
I can tell right off the bat.
Yeah, exactly. You're not the guy. I can
Different
tell.
stature.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like talking about just going back to like the Logan movie, right? Like that, what a great fitting end for Hugh Jackman's run as Wolverine in the Fox universe. And so, yeah, great. Granted, I mean, look, there is no necessarily, nothing's 100% permanent given that, you know, who knows, maybe Disney might buy Fox and good, hey, we're going to get a new Wolverine, right? And that's going to happen. But at a certain point, you're going to cast that guy. We're all going to fall in love with him. He's going to get a little old. Hugh Jackman cannot do that to his body anymore. He just cannot do it. He has to go at a certain point. So why not send him off in a very fitting way and make room for, you know, the new Wolverine, whoever.
And that's why the movies, I mean, the comic movies in particular are doing, in MCU, of course, is doing such a great job of character building and character arcs, right? And like, you know, we did MCU in review on youtube.com/kindafunny, where we watched all the movies, right? But leading up to originally, not Endgame, Infinity War. Thank you. And it was like seeing him in that way, like going from like them being popcorn flicks to being like, oh my gosh, what an arc Tony Stark has had, right?
Yeah.
From everything Jensen taught him in the cave to where he is, where you know, if you die, that's on me. Like the him moving into that father figure role.
Yeah, going from being the petulant son to being the father
and
now.
Like, and to see that in Spider-Man: Homecoming, right, where he has those conversations with Peter and teaches him stuff, and you see him learning from his own mistakes, right, and what he's built into the suit based on what he's dealt with his early career as Iron Man, to get to where we are now and see when they were like, spoilers are up on Monday, right, the Russo brothers, and then they drop the Far From Home trailer, and you watch it, and it's literally Peter wrestling with it. It's like, please, in so many ways, I love Spider-Man and I love everything we've seen. I hope, beyond hope, that this actually is Uncle Ben to him. that what you know, I mean, he put on the suit and bad things happen to when you have powers and you don't do anything, bad things happen to good people. It's on you, right? He says that in Homecoming. But now, like when they see him putting on Tony's glasses, right, from Infinity War, like is that going to be either where we get the AI into a suit of Tony, or is it going to be Tony giving one final message, hey kid, I knew you'd find these or whatever, right? And you have to remember, like with great power comes great. Is he going to say that? Is Tony Stark going to say that, or is that just going to be something?
I hope so. That would be pretty incredible to have that moment happen.
Ball in the theater if that happens.
I'm already crying
because
thinking about
It'd be the first change to like the whole Spider-Man like dynamic.
Yeah, and
it's always Uncle Ben.
And they've done such a great job already of establishing, you know, I'm the be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, right? And then like in Infinity War, well, I've thought it through. There's no, there can't be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man if there's no neighborhood, right? But even in the trailer with Sam Jackson, he's like, you know, I'm a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. He's like, bitch, you've been to space. Like clearly he still needs that push. He still needs to have it explained to him from the mentor that's letting go here. Right?
Yeah,
and I hope beyond hope we get that one final moment, because even after the fact, you know, you're sitting there thinking about everything we saw in Endgame. It was that thing of it would have been too cheesy at that moment of Tony's final words to him, being with great power come great responsibility.
Well,
but it would have been cool too.
They said Spider-Man is the closure to, I think, phase 3, so we can go into phase 4.
Yeah, exactly.
So
exactly.
I thought that was just a marketing ploy, so we'd all go see it. And then that trailer makes you go, no,
this is like
the actual epilogue and everything.
I can't wait.
No, I know it's gonna be so good.
What I like about the death for Iron Man and the death of Black Widow, though, is even if they do comic book logic and we get them back, the pace that the movies come out don't match the pace of a comic book.
No.
So if it does happen, you aren't going to see them for 5, 10, 15 years. It'll be very impactful, as opposed to the comic, where I think Wolverine is only down for like 3 or 4 years total.
Yeah.
And he wasn't even technically gone, so it's kind of whatever.
Yeah, that's what's fascinating about MCU and comic movies, and as we are on this precipice of ending phase 3 and not knowing what comes next, is it's easy and cool to sit there and be like, all right, cool, man. You know, Anthony Mackie, right, as Cap, Falcon is Captain America.
Which they announced is happening in the show.
Yeah,
The show is about him doing that.
And so it's going to be like, that's awesome. Does that sell a major motion picture anymore? I don't, and I don't get me wrong, I love Falcon and stuff, but I'm like, is there going to be, I remember when... what it would have been Winter Soldier, right, ended, and Cap does the Avengers, and they cut. Is that Winter Soldier, right? And I remember looking out at that group of Avengers, being like, I wasn't sold on them at the time.
The Vision, Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
I can't remember who else was on that team.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and Falcon was, and it's just like
Falcon was there.
We're in a different spot now for sure in terms of how much we care and love these characters, and also what the mainstream is. Because again, like when we were going into Endgame and then coming out of Endgame, I was like, Endgame was the most comic book movie I've ever seen in my life, and everyone in that theater got it. You know, we went, we watched on opening night, and then the next day I flew to Chicago, went out with my cousins who are adults with real life and don't watch YouTube, and they knew she bawled, my cousin, when Iron Man died, right? And it's like, you're a teacher, like this isn't like your life, but like everybody gets it in that way of what does it look like when it's not this cultural event anymore. It is, all right, cool. Here's the Bucky movie, and here's this thing, and here's like who are these people? Aren't the main marquee players you've been used to? Are those the ones that don't perform as well? And what happens, or is it that what we're talking about, the death of these characters, seeing them elevated, means that everybody's on board?
Me personally, I'm not looking forward to this new wave of television shows. I think it's going to just dilute the waters a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think that, like, I'm sure that Disney has a plan, and I'm sure they have a uniform vision like they've had and Marvel has had. But I think that part of the power of the MCU is that we're not getting, you know, multiple issues every month of these characters. We have to wait 6 months to see Spider-Man again, right? Or 3 months after Endgame comes. You know,
we've been there, but
it's the same
like, between Spider-Man movies, years.
Years, right? And so
what, 2 since the Homecoming?
Yeah. That checks out. Barrett, give me a check on that.
We don't get that many turns at bat with these characters, which is why every hit counts.
Yeah.
And that's the importance.
Let me tell
of
you, as a Superman fan, I'm well aware.
Yeah. and that's unfortunate.
How's that Man of Steel 2?
Man, they got to figure that out. But you know, and that's the thing. You talk about Scarlet Witch. And not Scarlet Witch. You mean Black Widow every time with that Scarlet.
I do it. I'm the one who does it on MCU all the
time. Black Widow's death. If you'd have told me after Iron Man 2 that I was gonna shed a tear for Black Widow dying, I would have been like, no, I'm not. This character's a total throwaway character. They've given her nothing interesting to do. And then through 22 movies, they develop both her as a character, her relationship to Hawkeye, and their friendship, which is really the power of that scene. right? Which when we're talking about them trying to fight each other so that one of them can sacrifice their life for the other person, you believe it.
Yeah.
And it's so well done. And when she falls, and I know there was a lot of people that were it was a very divisive fall because of the way she fell and it looked like, but I happen to like the duality of that versus everyone that sacrifices the same way. Like if you sacrifice a loved one, it's always the same because love is the same. I liked that. And man, it's so impactful, even for a character that literally could probably, and I don't mean this as an insult to Scarlett Johansson, but that character could have not existed in the MCU, and we probably wouldn't have noticed that much.
I feel like she started off as guys, we need a woman on this team. And Black Widow turned into this major character to the point where now they're like, oh wow, we really should have given her a movie.
yeah. Oh my god, we have a great actor and she's in this role and she's kicking ass. Yeah, we should.
And
give
that's
her a
one of
movie.
the things too, of just like the way the MCU aged up and evolved and changed, right? And even the characters inside of it. But I mean, in Iron Man 2, right? Homecoming was 2017. Yeah.
Also, really quick, the ending of the movie that you're thinking of is Age of Ultron, where he's looking at his own
Avengers.
Oh yeah, because that was the second Avengers movie. That was a good. Yeah, Age of Ultron for those who are watching, and everyone who's already pounding away at the comments saying we had the ending of the wrong movie.
I can't believe they did not know the right movies.
That's a lot of movies, all
but
right?
it's like when Black Widow's introduced, right? And like Tony Stark's like, I want one, and it's like, ooh, what? That line doesn't age well, but it doesn't matter because the characters and themselves aged with us and got to where they are, right?
Well, Tony matured from being this sexist playboy, billionaire, chauvinist, just doing everything wrong,
to being the savior of the universe. Yeah, exactly.
Dope.
But to get there now, and like it's actually interesting where I think even Endgame, I watching it and seeing like her, eat her peanut butter sandwich and cry, and then like get there and the sacrifice, and it makes me even that movie care so much more about her that I'm totally down for a prequel about her and show the is it just the Budapest mission? Is it going to be this? Is it?
Well, they started filming in Norway, so that's all we know.
Gotcha. Okay,
Norway.
Interesting. Oh, okay. Well, what can we read into Norway?
That's all we got.
Is that New Asgard? Is that where we're at? Yeah. But it'll be I think it'll be actually maybe a great send off. I'm sure they'll do a sequel if they need to. But like hey, you fell in love with this character through that way, and here is a chance to do it, and that probably will be another Robert Downey Jr. nod, right? He'll be on a TV screen or getting some interview shit. Yeah.
And that's great. And every time we see those nods, we'll remember how impactful that death was, and that's the important thing. Like it's almost like if you do it well, and Marvel is doing it well, we can have our cake and eat it too with these.
That's a good point.
And that's just the way it goes.
Yeah. And so then it's just comics. I love a good death in comics is great. Right, like when it's done well, and
I tear up at the proper death. Even though you're like, I know they're coming back, I'll be like, that's really sad. Like I'm really down.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You can see it motivate people and change people, and have them step up or change their character, or change their relationships with one another, and that's great. And when they come back, it can rob you of that, but usually it's still a death of a character is usually not so much about the character from there on out. It's about how it changes the dynamic of the supporting cast.
Yeah,
and when we see that change in the right way and come out and make cool stuff and trickle down to make a more rich universe or continuity built around them, that's awesome. Yeah, I don't mind people coming back because I don't think it then robs it of it, and plus it's. Deaths are a great reason to jump in. Returns are a great reason to jump in.
I just wish the death to return ratio was a little bit longer apart. I'm fine with them bringing them back for, it's a new generation. We want to get new readers. But like Wolverine being down for like 3 years, like that's not new readers. You got the same readers. Those same readers just went to Old Man Logan and complained about him until you brought back Wolverine.
Yeah.
It's fair.
That's fair. Okay, so I want to end our discussion by giving each of you the free reign to kill any pop culture character. And I want you to go first, Nick, because I'm assuming you've been sitting and dwelling on it. You've had a lot of time to meditate and think.
Yeah, there's one character. We compare.
The rules are simple, just for those watching. You get to kill them permanently. They will not come back. The final ending of them.
Mine's a little bit of a cheat.
Yeah, how are you going to cheat?
I'm already cheating.
The last time I had you on here, you were cheating.
I know. Well,
welcome to the next Scarpino.
This is a fictional universe that we're all living in. No, I want them to kill off James Bond. I do. And I want them to kill off James Bond, just like a lot of people. There's a lot of people that have speculated that Bond, the title of Bond, is kind of a code name.
Yes,
and that's
I like
how they've always
that's
sort
awesome.
of talked about, like, hey, we're bringing it, and it's never been explicitly said in the movies. It's always been like canon wise, it's the same Bond over and over. They're just retelling his story. But what I'd love to see is a Daniel Craig movie where, in the very beginning of the movie, he dies in a mission, and the 007 moniker is given to someone else.
We get to see that process,
and we get to see that process of, hey, there's only 10 10 00s or whatever. Or actually, I guess it would only be 9 00s. In this world, this is a very special designation. So when one goes out, we have to bring up the next person, and then they have to show the whole process again of him having to do the few kills that he has to do, which we saw in Casino Royale, where they're like, to become a 00, you have to have a certain amount of confirmed kills, and then we see him get his last kill, or we see him kill a guy and violently in a bathroom, and then open it up. It could be anyone. It could literally be anyone. A lot of people have said, hey, we want Idris Elba to be Bond.
Yes.
We want a person of color to be Bond. We want a female Bond at some point. Open it up, make it more, bring it into 2019, because I think Bond, unfortunately, is still stuck in like the late 80s, early 90s. And you look
I think Daniel Craig brought him forward a little, but I agree.
Daniel Craig brought him forward,
general
and then they
concept.
took a gigantic step back with the last couple movies, because they're like, oh, no one likes these more serious movies. We got to go gadgets and all crazy stuff.
Right.
But what I don't like about the new Bond is what I do love about the new Mission Impossible movies is that they figured out the formula of Mission Impossible to somehow grow those movies. Like, we're in an era of movies where we're on the 5th, 6th, 7th iteration of these big franchises, and they're getting bigger.
We got these
people
universes.
are liking them more. Like, I don't know if you saw Mission Impossible Fallout.
Oh, I have.
It is arguably the best Mission Impossible movie ever made.
100% agree with you on that one.
And it's amazing, right? And because
Fast and the Furious did that too.
Fast and Furious did that too, and they both share one important thing in common, right? They figured out, hey, you know what people like? Recurring characters, a team, a world building experience, and a camaraderie between these actors that can only be built after 10 years of making movies.
Right.
And so I think we need that with the Bond franchise. I think we can't keep flipping people around. I think they're going to try to do it with the next Bond, because it seems like they're bringing a lot of characters back, but it needs to be more of a team thing. And Bond doesn't need, like, I know Bond's always the rogue soldier, but it's not fun anymore.
I mean, well, taking what you said, how do you feel about them always swapping out Batman? Ignoring the Ben Affleck situation and the fact, just going to the idea that they only did, every Batman does 3 and we move on.
I'm of the mind that I think we are in a world where people understand comic book movies enough that you can have multiple Batmans. And what I mean by that is you can do what Greg's always talked about, which is having, hey, have the main canon Batman story that builds into Justice League. But also, let's cast a random person that's a really good actor as Batman for a one-off series or story, right? Throw him out there. He can look totally different. He doesn't have to be stop making Batman the jacked out, steroided out dude.
That's my hope with the Robert Pattinson thing.
That's what I'm hoping they'll do with him.
If they're doing it noir like they say they are, I hope he's
give him tone, but don't
I mean,
give him,
like he's in like
Ben
a more
Affleck.
cloth-like suit, and there's the thing. You know what I want? I just want to be a detective. I want the pen flashlight in his mouth and him going through files, right?
Like, here's the thing. He can be a great fighter.
Yeah, of course.
But actually, how about, this is going to sound crazy, but give him a plot worthy of his talents. How about you have a plot that's so a complex plot that he actually has to figure out, so that we as the audience get to figure it out with him.
Yeah, it's like a mystery with him. Along that thing.
That's what every good Batman story is. He actually has to do detective work.
Have him be the Batman that is more like the Batman in the opening of the animated series, right? Where he's in the cowl and the cape, arms down by his side, dodging the punches, and then he just lands one punch to end it, right? Like, that's how he takes out thugs. He doesn't, and don't get me wrong.
We don't need a
Batman
Batman
scene, him brawling through, that was awesome. I'm not at all saying that wasn't rad, but it's like, we've seen Bale, we've seen Affleck, let's get something different there.
Yeah.
We've also seen Clooney.
Right, of course. Lest we forget. But no, to the point of what I'm always driving at is like, if especially where the current state of DC films are, if I was there, I would be like, cool, yep, we're greenlighting this Joker movie. We have the Suicide Squad going. We got Harley Quinn. Also, we have Matt Reeves' Batman's going. It's a trilogy, great. Also, get me Michael Keaton on the phone. We are doing Batman Beyond. Get me this, let's do a Batman Beyond inspired from the end of Returns, right? And that's the other thing audiences understand, right? There's a new Terminator coming, and it picks up right after T2. Forget everything you know.
We
got it. We're good. We're all set.
Is that where that one takes place?
Yeah.
Here's the trailer.
Not
Forget
right
about
after,
the
but I mean,
trailer.
like, it's like, forget everything else.
I thought we were going to keep some of the middle ones.
No, I believe it's supposed to be a direct sequel to T2.
Yeah.
Huh.
And it'll be interesting to see how they sequel that movie.
Yeah, because they've had a lot of just not good ones.
Yeah, exactly.
Salvation is the one I think I did enjoy. Is that the one where the guy's who discover he's a robot?
Yes, that's
Okay.
one where
That's the
the
one
guy from Avatar.
That's
Yeah.
the
Sam
one with
Worthington.
and Christian Bale as well.
Christian Bale.
Yeah, and we did, I liked
Directed
that
by
one.
Mick G of all people. It was actually not.
It
a
wasn't
bad
the
movie.
greatest ever, but I did enjoy it.
had
They
fun.
brought back
Yeah.
young Arnold. It was dope.
Yeah.
But again, I think people get it. You can do a montage in the beginning to explain whatever you're doing, or obviously the press tour and the trailers are going to explain that
That's kind of what I'm hoping with the Joker movie, because
Yeah.
my complaint with the Joker movie looks great to me. I'm super excited about
Looks
it.
like it's a great trailer.
Yeah,
is that going to be a fun?
Yeah, I agree. The
hour
trailer
and a
looks
half?
amazing.
Is it a great trailer?
But my problem
Yes.
is
It's not.
My problem as a comic book fan, what I like most about the Joker is no one knows his origin.
Yeah.
He's iconic, and that's what makes him fun. And by giving him an origin, even if you're like it's Elseworlds, unless
That's gonna
they-
become for
that's his
people canon,
origin.
right?
Everyone
Yeah.
still asks, "Isn't Jack Napier the
Yeah.
Joker?
Yeah.
Didn't he shoot Batman's parents? Isn't that how they're connected?" And I'm like, "No, that was in 1989."
Hell yeah. We knocked that out of the park when I was 9. Okay, we figured it out with
Perfect.
along with Velcro.
So I mean, I agree with you. They need to have some clear way to show.
I mean, honestly, I think the easiest way to do it would be you have the Elseworlds logo, right? And you start putting that on movie posters. And granted, in the beginning, nobody's going to understand what's happening. Nobody understood the MCU when it started.
Yeah.
You can get there.
But here's my question to you guys: do people understand the MCU?
No.
Because you have the people who are sitting at this table, the people like us who are diehard fans, who of course go back and watch some of the movies as they come in, and they listen to podcasts, and they love being a part of this world, and they like dissecting it and all that stuff. And then you have the general mainstream population who probably just go, "Oh, there's an Iron Man movie, let's take our kids," and they don't really necessarily need to care, right?
But I think they care enough.
To give an example, my dad thought that the X-Men movies were part of the MCU until a month ago.
But that's
my
the thing
mom
is
did
like,
too, actually.
Yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily. I'm not saying that audiences are stupid. I'm saying that there are the hardcore fans that will get it because they'll follow the trades and they'll read every article and they'll listen to podcasts with people like us explaining it. Hey, this is a direct sequel to Batman Returns, which was the last Tim Burton movie, last Keaton movie. Like a lot of people say it's the last time Batman was good on screen.
You like the Nolan films.
I do. But I think they're gonna get it. And then the general movie audience is a Batman movie. They're not gonna care. They're not gonna care.
Yeah, that's fair.
Right?
That's fair.
And I think there used to be a time before, you're talking 15 years ago, yeah, studios, I get it. You're up against a really big challenge because you have to not only educate the general population on what these movies are, but you're also talking, what is a comic book movie? What is a hero? Who are these people? I'm kind of familiar with Captain America. Nobody knew who Iron Man was really in the general public.
Yeah.
We're beyond that now. It's 20 years later. People get it. Comic book characters, everything. Just make movies. Who cares?
Yeah.
I mean, one of my unpopular opinions that I've toted and everyone, I still say Infinity War is a great conclusion to MCU.
Yeah.
Terrible movie. Explains
Wow.
nothing. It's just people fighting. So if you go into that movie and you have not seen
Infinity War or Endgame?
Infinity War, not
Okay.
Endgame, because Endgame actually set up the characters that were left.
It's interesting. I've heard the opposite from people.
Really?
A lot of people say
'Cause I find-
Endgame was just like a dumb heist film, and Infinity War was the one that had all the heart. I was like, wow. Okay.
Because Infinity War to me is all about it tries to get every character in there, and to
Yeah.
do that, we don't
Yeah.
get any explanation.
That's true.
So, like my wife, she didn't get to see Black Panther. She had a lot of things going on, couldn't go see it during that when they came out, and that's
Fake
a
fan.
huge chunk of that is in Black Panther.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
They go to
In
Wakanda.
Wakanda,
She had
yeah.
no idea what any of that was. What was going on?
Sure.
Why was this important?
But I mean, again, but to their credit, you could probably go in there and be like, oh, that's interesting. I've never seen this environment before, and still enjoy the hell out of the storytelling of the
She
movie.
did enjoy it, but the point I always make is that I think it's a terrible movie because it doesn't explain anything. It
Well,
just assumes you know it all.
Yeah, but it's part two. I mean, the
Infinity War was one.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's a good point, I guess.
Yeah,
That's true.
To your point, this dials back to comics, right? Where I hate crossover events.
Yeah.
Where I'm just gonna read the main, whatever, a Civil War. I'm gonna read the main, and you're reading like, what are they talking about? All this is doing is trying to, tentacle out to make me buy the tie-in, so I
Yeah.
understand what conference Spider getting, right, or like any of this stuff. You're like, where did Spider Gwen go, and what is she doing with Jessica? Like, I don't understand what's happening.
So that's why
That was a cool one with tie-ins, man.
Hey, exactly.
That's why I loved being a part or a fan of The Flash on CW.
Oh, God, yeah.
Because every time they do a crossover event, it would like end with
just
The Flash,
can't-
and I'm
yeah,
like, I'll just watch this one.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'll extrapolate that. Arrow's
And
still
see,
on
again,
this.
those are the ones I tune in for. I'm like, oh, cool, I'll come back for these because it's going to be
Yeah.
3 episodes that are all tied together and tell one story.
Yeah.
Rather than have to hear whoever the Flash is chasing down, what Oliver's doing.
Don't even get me started on CW
long
Flash.
gone. He's got pussies too or something like that.
Detective Lance.
Meryl. You're gonna tell me the Arrow is Olive Queen? This guy gets punched in the face a lot. I don't know.
But no, and that's what I've always said. I've been saying about Infinity War, though. I think it's
Sure.
a great conclusion for us.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
we're like,
yeah.
I know all this. This is amazing. I just think it sucks as a standalone movie. But to keep us under time, what pop culture character would you kill permanently and how? And you don't get to cheat and do a guy that's going to rotate.
Oh, no. Cheating. I love that idea.
The idea is great, but we're supposed to kill someone.
I've watched one Bond movie, the one where I thought Christmas only came once a year.
Gosh, The World Is Not Enough.
Yeah, that's the only one I ever saw.
Yeah, The World's Not Enough.
And so like I have no interest in it, but that would actually be a super cool one, I think. Like if that's how it started, I'd be like, all right. For me, I'd want to go back and retcon. You know well, Benny, of course. My favorite superhero is Superboy, Con-El, the clone. You know what I mean? And so I never dug how he got taken out in the whole Infinite Crisis, right? Wasn't that the one where Super?
No. Was it?
It was where Superboy Prime's back. He's punching the world.
Because you're talking Con-El before Connor.
No, I'm talking Con-El, Connor Kent.
Okay. Oh, you're talking Superboy Prime. Okay.
With Superboy,
Infinite Crisis. That was Supergirl's death in Flash.
That's Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. Infinite Crisis. I don't think that's when it happened. I'm looking
Not confusing at all.
No, not at all.
Yeah,
right?
well, this is the problem. Let me also Final Crisis. Don't worry about that. Which event?
A lot
was
of
that?
Final Crisis C's.
I don't even deny that I always mix these up.
You're looking at yeah. So, but anyways, though, of course, he gets taken out fighting Superboy Prime. He's able to stop Superboy Prime, kind of save the universe, kind of the multiverse thing. It was a dumb way to go out, and he didn't get to go out.
Not to come back was horrible.
Well, now he's back in the Bendis Wonder book, right? Yeah. So like, it's
not reading that.
I started it. I'm way behind on my comics. Yeah. Issues 1 and 2 were real good, and or Young Justice, right? I'm interested to see where it goes on the Wonder brand of comics. But he just got taken out like a bitch. You know what I mean? Of like, he's fighting Superboy Prime.
You're right. Infinite Crisis.
Yes, nailed it. Still got it. You made me doubt myself.
I always confuse that with Crisis on Infinite Earths because the names are so similar.
Infinite Crisis, Final Crisis, Identity Crisis. Yeah. It's like, we get it, DC. We get it. All right,
you like the crisis.
Yeah, exactly. Crisis. But like to go out there and it was like, we talk about how deaths spurn characters forward, right? Yeah. Whether it's them or not. And like, I know this is going to sound stupid, but it was awesome. And stick with me. This is going to be one of the stupidest things I'll ever say, but don't immediately throw in my face. It was awesome to watch Superboy lose his virginity to Wonder Girl, right? Not in the perv way, but in the way of like, oh, look.
Nice save.
Also maybe in a perv way.
It was hot. Don't get me wrong. Hot. But also in the way to see him grow up, right? In a lot of different ways of like, they had done so much good stuff with the new Teen Titans, like that book, Jeff Johns' run on Teen Titans, so good. And to see what the current take on him was and how he interacts with Tim and how he interacts with Bart and Wonder Girl, to then have this be, well, he's going out, we have to give him stakes and do all these different stuff, to finally have him and Wonder Girl get together in an adult way, not the Triple X version, but like in an adult relationship way. And then the next morning have, her stumble into the Kent's kitchen, and Martha and Jonathan look at her and be like, all right, well, sit down. Like, you know what I mean? It was like such a cool, like, we'll have breakfast, honey. You're here with us. And it was like such a cool, like, he's not a child. He's not Superboy. He is a person. He is Connor Kent. He is a teenager owning up to it, and it is a modern version of it. And what does that look like? Blah, blah, blah. And then to immediately have it snuffed out. And it was just like, all right, cool. And then, how
would you kill him then?
How would I kill him?
Yeah.
I would want him. I think he should have died in Teen Titans, and I think he should have died with the Titans. I think that would have meant more. Fighting Superboy Prime, who's a character they explain who he is, right? All right, okay, cool. But he's been like, he's punched the universe. That's how that's how you brought back Jason Todd. You know what I mean? He punched the universe, and it went womp 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 womp. And brought him back from the dead. Like, come on.
I've always found the power levels of him cool. But he's such a convoluted character. Everyone's like, bring him back now. And I'm like, you can't. How are you going to explain him to the average comic book reader who jumped in since New 52?
Yeah.
You can't explain Superboy Prime.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work.
God, Superboy is such a compelling character, too. Could you imagine if they retconned the whole DCEU and just started with a Superboy movie where Superman's been dead? And they just cloned him, and that's how it started off.
That'd be awesome. I mean, something different and cool, right? Way cool way to do it. But yeah, I'd have him die, and I'd probably have him die in Titans, and I'd have him die to Deathstroke. Deathstroke, of course, always.
So with like the Titans all going down together.
Exactly, right? Because do you remember when they started Teen Titans, the Jeff Johns run or whatever, and they're all fighting, and it's early on in the issues, and it's right as Impulse becomes Kid Flash, or it's the thing that'll turn him into Kid Flash. But Bart runs out, right? And I forget how Deathstroke stops him. But then he puts a shotgun to his knee and he goes, send a message to the adults, and blows his knee apart with a shotgun. Kids shouldn't wear costumes. And it was like, then they rush Bart to the hospital and they're operating on him, but he's healing so fast and he's healing wrong. So they have to keep hurting him, keep breaking the knee and keep cutting him off. And it was like, what a cool way to do it, right? What a really cool way. What a cool, I didn't get it all the way. I didn't have to bleep that. What a cool way to, like, again, age them up. Because it was taking them from Young Justice, which was fun, Peter David, right? But it was quirky and goofy and colorful and, shenanigans. And Teen Titans was like, this is a real thing. And so in the same breath, to propel everyone forward, I would rather seen his death mean something there and propel the whole team forward as to what it means. Because they did it then. They came out and, like, Tim really wrestled with it. You know, Robin, he was like struggling with the death of Superboy, and like at one point he made him and Cassie kiss, and it's like, well, and they wrestled with it in a cool way, but it was never in their house, if that makes sense.
Right.
I wanted it all in their house. I didn't like it being somewhere else and then not getting the credit or, you know, the love it deserved.
No, I agree.
Long answer, sorry.
I mean, this is probably a topic for a totally second podcast. But one thing I've always disagreed with is the fact that the characters don't get to age and grow up, and things change them permanently.
Well, that's the
biggest worst example is Damian. He has had so many redemptions where he's like, oh, he's finally like Batman's son, and he's redeemed, and he's going to be a great future Batman. And then like the next issue, he's like, forget all that, I'm putting him in prison.
I'm killing somebody.
Yeah, I'm killing someone. Like, what? Oh yeah,
and even now,
he
like,
has to be 13 forever.
Have you seen the Bendis jump here with Jonathan Kent? Again,
Yeah.
I'm behind on everything, but now he's like 16 or 17 or whatever. It's like, great. What does that mean for Super Sons, which was a great book? And,
Yeah, well, they now write those out of continuity.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Yeah, comic books.
And I'm not against what Bendis did with the Superboy jump.
No.
Because it's
Dumb way to do it.
It's a dumb way to do it.
Really dumb way to do it.
Really dumb way. But he said it's for a purpose of Connor's coming back and for John, who's the true son. And I'm like, that sounds like a cool comic. What are you going to do when it's done? Because now you've aged Jonathan up, and you did it for one story arc.
Yeah.
So I hope you de-age him. Otherwise, whoever has Jonathan next is just going to be stuck with this awkwardly like 17-year-old Jonathan, and also have Connor, and also have Superman, and also have Supergirl, and no true Superboy anymore.
Mon-El's popping back out.
Just for the sake of it.
Rolgalzar is all over there. Zod's there. It's like, you're not the last Kryptonian by a mile.
And when they tried to clean that up and kill off all of them, yeah, that was fun.
I mean, just do it. Like, you know, why is Jor-El alive again?
I don't know.
Why is Jor-El alive?
And weirdly like scarred.
I
and,
got one eye, and I'm like, oh my god.
and a weird haircut. That's,
The book.
he reminds me of the Hound right now.
Right? No, totally. The book I would love to see someone write, based on everything we're talking about, right, would be, all right, cool, Bendis moves on or whatever. They just want a thing to deal with all this, is a book that's just 12 issues even, of Clark, Lois, and Jonathan really wrestling with what this means.
Yeah.
Because Bendis has done a good job of Lois or Clark breaking down when Jonathan's telling these stories and stuff.
Yeah.
But again, it's like, he went from being 7 to 17. You missed 10 years of your son's life. Like, how do you guys as a family come
It's
to
a cool.
grips with that?
I like what he's doing as Superman. I do like that because
Yeah.
he is wrestling with those ideas, and I want him to go deeper into that.
Yeah, me too.
I do dislike his action run though. I think it should just be called Metropolis.
Yeah, that would've been
it's
great.
not about Superman.
Yeah, exactly. Which I dig. Like, when he got announced as like Superman action's gonna be Clark in the Daily Planet, I was like, all right. But even then we bend the rules and it's not. It's like, all right, well, come on.
You're like teasing us with Superman. Like, oh, there he is. But all right, I'm going to bring this one to a close real quick because I've done this type of show before with other people. The person that I would kill would be officially kill Batman. But
nice.
Just to give you guys the quick roundabout, it's not because of what happens to Batman, because then what we were discussing was how we would do it. And we wanted to see how everyone truly coped with the death of Batman because he's not coming back, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And the saddest moment that we got out of that one, I just figured I'd let you guys know.
Please do.
It was going to be a whole issue dedicated to Alfred, whose entire purpose was to make sure that everyone was okay, and they all forget him.
Yeah.
So he's alone in the mansion at the end of the issue.
Yeah.
And that was that was like our big heartwarming hitting moment where he's there for everyone else, but everyone forgets Alfred.
Well, you read, like, I cried when I read the Father's Day story.
Yeah.
Like, I
That
forget
was
what
such a
was
sweet
that in?
story.
Was that in Detective 1000 or whatever?
It was one of those.
One of those compilation.
I think it was an
collections,
annual.
yeah.
Actually, I think it may have been no. Yeah, I don't know.
No, annual sounds right. That
Yeah.
sounds pretty right. Well, whatever. Yeah, but like the end.
I've always
when-
loved his relationship with Bruce and
Yeah.
the kids and everybody.
Yeah,
But
yeah, exactly.
That was we had a whole discussion. It was like a whole episode of just how to kill Batman and keep him dead.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Comics Experiment. You can find it live on Twitch every Thursday at about 2 p.m. Eastern, twitch.tv/eligible-monster. You can also find it on Spotify, iTunes, all kinds of stuff, and right here on the YouTubes. And you can also find Greg and Nick at
YouTube.com/kindafunny.
Or youtube.com/kindafunnygame.
Complicated.
or patreon.com/kindafunny.
They're everywhere. Just search Kinda Funny, you'll find us.
I like to contribute.
I love you.
Thank you guys for joining us, and I'll see you next time right here.